Jennifer, one of my favorite people, one of our board of directors for the company, and a person who I'm proud to call a friend. Welcome to
I'm,
Crush. Excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you. I wish we could all be there personally, of course.
I
But
know, me too. But this will have to do. This is the next best thing, even though your energy is amazing. Anybody who's met you knows that. But hopefully, everybody will be able to feel you through the computer screen, huh?
I hope so. I got to live up to that, right?
Yes. So I'm going to kick it off with kind of a soft one, which is just tell me one of the most unique things about you that's beyond your impressive professional career, which we've already kind of hyped in some of the stuff. And it can't be that you have the coolest name in the world, Jennifer Justice, something that's unique about you.
You mean the fact that I'm a superhero on top of it with the name Jennifer Justice?
Yes, that.
Which I try to convince my children all the time. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I am. I have 7-year-old twins, by the way. I don't know. I don't like seaweed. So that means I don't like sushi that much.
That's
I'm
surprising, actually.
left-handed. I'm a Scorpio. But like serious, in all seriousness, which I think a lot of people relate to, is that I came from a very, really poor family where no one went to school. I was the first generation of going to school. I was the first one to go to school and then go to college. And then, so keeping through with breakthrough theme that we have, you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So I think you got a lot there. I don't like seaweed, so don't try to take me to a sushi place. I don't really love it other than Nobu. I'm left-handed, which there's not a lot of us in the world. I think there's less than 5%. And I broke through on my own out of my family and did something completely different.
That was definitely one of the things that stood out to me the first time that we ever grabbed lunch together and hearing your story. I don't think that many people probably assume that. And there's a lot more layers to your background too that I think are surprising and unique, which hopefully we'll get into as we go through a few more of these. So on to the next one is after being a business manager and you were general counsel for a while and for Jay-Z's team there at Rock Nation. And then you went on to build and run one of the best music event companies I know because I went to some of your concerts, one of the best ones in the nation. What inspired you to go off on your own and start the Justice Department? Change can be pretty uncertain. And so take us through a little bit of the process you went through to come to the decision to start something new that you could call your own.
Right. Well, being from where I'm from and knowing like where I came from, and also from the West Coast and Pacific Northwest, so I'm moving 3,000 miles away and growing, you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm the attorney and an executive, with Jay-Z and Beyonce and Rihanna. And you're like, okay, well, that's great. You get to a point and you're like, okay, but I got to keep pushing, and then I go to Superfly, I'm the president, and keep pushing. And then ultimately I was like, okay, what's next in my career? What am I passionate about and what am I good at, right? And I just wanted to marry those two things. What I was very passionate about was gender equality. I hadn't seen anything really changing. In fact, things were going backwards. The stats, the facts were what they are, right? 2% of women get venture funding. If you're a Black woman, it's 0.5%. There are more men named John in the, as CEOs than there are, women CEOs in the Fortune 500. List. It's like on and on and on and on. Our pay is, our equal pay day. We're not making the same amount of money as men for 200 years. And, but here I was, making money for men by day and trying to overthrow the patriarchy at night. And I made men a lot of money. I'm like, can I take all the experience that I got by making men a lot of money and actually apply it to women and try to make women a lot of money? So there was the idea for the Justice Department where I could apply the strategy knowledge I had and experience, management experience I had and the legal experience I had, and do that hyper focused on women and make women money.
Not to mention all the relationships you have, and you do have an impressive roster of friends, partners, and relationships. And I'm sure a few more of those will surface over time, but we love your mission. We love your why. And obviously accelerating the success of female founders in particular. but also their brands and helping them improve equality and diversity across the workforce in their businesses and others. What specific changes are you hoping come from this focus? What's driving you toward what is the next layer of the future look like for you?
Well, we, first and foremost, literally just want to make women more money. And if that is being their advocate when they are getting into a new job, a new deal, starting their new company, really like demystifying what that business is and around it. And then, on top of it, like really allowing them to understand and jump into their own self-worth and self-value. And then being able to brace money. Like money's been such a dirty word for women. Like we don't talk about money, we don't need money, but we should need money and we should want money because money is freedom. And it does not give you happiness, but it gives you the ability to make choices that you want to make instead of out of desperation. And so, and I know for a fact, and I'm happy for anybody to prove me wrong, that when women have the same amount of money as men, this world is going to be a better place, And so that's our ultimate goal, and like women have the same financial, equity globally. And, right now we're like years and years away. So those are the major things that we want them to come away with, is that like there's no big demystifying way to do business, you just do it and do it from your gut, have advocates, hire the right people around you, educate yourself, and you can do it, you should, and to go for it.
Great. The theme of our conference this year is breakthrough. So can you share a moment or something in particular where you had a breakthrough or where your breakthrough came through? I'm sure you've had a series of them, but is there any one that stands out to you in particular?
I mean, the one I just talked about is when I had the breakthrough of like what I should do next, because when I had hired an executive coach, I was like, what do I want to do? And she just kind of kept coming back to this, like, talking to other women about being the CEO or president of their female founded company. And so I had this breakthrough of like, oh, well, let me marry my passion and my experience, and put those together that can actually make money. We can't always just do our passions. Otherwise I'd probably be, watching Netflix and drinking wine all day. I'd be moving in, to the state 8, like move over. Which is where
the team here loves you. The team is waiting for you to move in.
Yeah.
We have the wine ready.
More pasta, man, with Dan. But that was one breakthrough. And, another big breakthrough was when I was like, all these other people are starting companies and doing these things like, that seem to be going, like progressing and getting more successful. And like the one day, because, being brought up not around anybody who'd had any big kind of career or something like that, it's like, well, when can I get that? And then I realized it was like, I can have it anytime. I just have to go get it, right?
Right.
And those are like mini breakthroughs that I still have to this day. I think we all have imposter syndrome, and to be like, wait, can I do that? You know what? Yes, I can, because that person over there is they didn't have any experience either. And so, I kept having these aha moments or breakthroughs. And I remember when I left Rock Nation, I was talking to a few headhunters, and they were like, but I said I wanted to be president. Now, you've never been a president of a company before. And I was like, neither had Barack Obama. Okay. Like until he was, and yeah. So, just pushing. And so it's a constant breakthrough. I think I have daily breakthroughs.
And for our cause entrepreneurs who are running their own business at ONEHOPE, many of them are doing this for the first time. Do you have any advice for them as they're jumping in that you would also give to some of the entrepreneurs that you help advise and consult?
Right. Look, I think it's great to find your crew around you to help you get, mentor and see how things have been done. But it's also your unique experience of doing it for the first time. That's where innovation comes from, right? It's where ONEHOPE comes from. Using Jake and you and everybody, like your whole team. If a bunch of people had told you, in Napa, like, oh, you can't really do it that way, you would have done it and you listened, So I think it's a lot about, you got into it for a reason. Trust your instincts, trust your guts, but trust your gut, but make sure you're informing yourself as much as you possibly can and doing the research. and to go with it. Like you said, like you don't know, you get 0% of things you don't ask for, you
Yeah.
know, and things that you don't try. So it's going forward and doing all those things and trying it in innovative and new ways that's going to make it really fruitful for you and in an authentic way as well.
Blazing your own trail, doing what's authentic to you while you do it,
Yeah,
and studying up on what's worked in the past, but not constraining yourself based on
exactly.
what has worked in the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are some causes that are important to you, beyond obviously empowering women, which is very obvious by what you do day to day, the whole entire theme and focus purpose of your business. But are there any other causes that are important to you? And maybe a little advice that you give to the community about how you've managed to find this nice balance that you have with between income and impact. Because every time I'm talking to you, there's a ton of purpose with what you're talking about, what you stand for, but you also are not shy to talk about business, about income opportunities. So you have this great balance of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. And we know that you love to represent boss ladies and a few good men, right? We talked
Yes,
about that.
of
Boss
course.
ladies and a few good men that want to build lucrative and sustainable businesses on top of purpose-driven ones. So where do you find that balance between impact and income, intrinsic and extrinsic motivators?
Well, why it became so interesting to me and important to me to do what I'm doing right now is because there is actual data that trickle down economics works amongst women, not like in major economies like the US, but the more money that women make, the more it trickles down to other women and causes. I mean, women created lending circles, we're very community based. And so that allows me to have that purpose and passion together in a for-profit way. My, nonprofit way, I'm involved in, I'm on the board of a non-profit that's called Free From, which is a domestic violence organization that actually teaches women to not only, repair their credit and helps repair their credit, which is one of the first things that happens in a domestic violence situation, but also teaches them how to be entrepreneurs. And so it's what I really also love about ONEHOPE and its purpose, like let's let people empower themselves. You don't give people the power, the power is in you. What is that, Wizard of Oz or whatever? You always have the power. But it's true. And so, for me, it's always getting people also in office. I'm political. I just did something for Joe Biden yesterday with Simone Sanders. And it's anything that rebalances the power structure. That's what I like, right? And so because that's exactly what got us into Me Too, what got us into Black Lives Matter. It's abuse of power, right? And so the abuse of power and also pay inequality. It's all of those things are what interest me. And so those are the things with children, with animals, things that are super innocent, that somebody's abusing their power in taking them over and not giving them a fair shake. So there might be a knowledge of inclusion, but there's no actual diversity happening.
Makes a ton of sense. And we're always trying to align our purpose with our business opportunity so that as we're building the business and as we're succeeding on the professional side, on the money-making side, it's also serving the causes that we care about. And you referenced one of the nonprofits that you sit on the board of, but you're also on some professional for-profit boards. I wanted to hear if you've had any insights or interesting experiences with serving on these boards of directors. Based on statistics, you're assumingly amongst majority of men in a lot of cases. How do you think about navigating them? Anything interesting with regards to being on boards where you might be the minority?
Well, it just never ceases to amaze me the amount of times I'm called a sweetie or honey, or completely underestimated, which, I just learned to take it to my, I turn it to my advantage. Like, what do you mean you can't give me the $4 million? That's so weird. It's like, look, do I want the world to be like that? No. But if you're going to treat me like that, I will take advantage of it. And I've gotten extremely good at it. So, you know.
I love that. That's a great one for the crew to take. Sometimes embracing these, generalizations, stereotypes, people underestimating you can be a secret weapon. And
Right.
I do, we certainly don't do that on our board. And hopefully, if you ever do see that, I'll be the first one to have your back and correct it. However, I do see the way that you navigate these powerful and strong and intelligent people, and are able to, not only navigate it, but your mastery of relationships and working amongst people. It's very obvious that you've had a lot of experience with working amongst lots of men who think very highly of themselves, think their time is very valuable, so on and so forth.
Your voice should just sing throughout the room all the time.